Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Mochen Leira online smicha. In Parshas Kisisa, after the terrible avera of the Maisa Egel, and Moshe is pleading for forgiveness, so Hashem says to Moshe, I will give you the secret, the key to atonement for the future, even when everything else fails. And as Rashi says in Perik Lamed Gimel, and Chumash Shmois Parshas Kisisa, Perik Lamed Gimel, Pasik Yud Tes, that Hashem says to Moshe, Lalamdecha, I'm going to teach you, say that Bakashas Rachmim, I'll teach you the way to request for mercy, Af im Tichlas Chus Avos. When everything else fails, I know that you always used this Chus Avos as a trick, as a way to get atonement. Even if you lost that Chas V'Shalom, this will always work. What will always work? Just like Hashem actually did it to show Moshe what to do. As you see me wrapped around in a talus, and I'm calling out Yud Gimel, the Midas, the 13 attributes of Hashem of His own, have a malamed as Yisrael lasas kain. Teach the Yidden to do so. And when they mention these attributes of Racham v'Chanim, Yunanim, I guarantee it that they will be answered. Ki Rachmai loy kolim, because my mercy and my Rachmanis for the Jews will never go away. So much so that later on in Lamed Daled Pasuk Yud, the Gemara says that Hashem made a promise. Vayomer. Hine anoichi koires bris neged kol amcha es on the flois. I made a bris that if you'd only do what I tell you to do, this is your secret to answer all your prayers for whatever you need. And the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah Daf Yud Zayin, the Gemara goes on to explain and speak about the greatness of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachmim, the 13 attributes of Hashem. And there's a big machlokes how exactly you read them, meaning from what are the 13, Hashem, Kel, Racham, V'Chanon. But that's for a different talk, and that is mentioned again by Arichos and Gemara and Rishonim and Rosh Hashanah Daf Yud Zayin. Now, the actual 13 Midas Harachamim we have now in Parshas Kisisa, and we have it also in Nevi'im, in Micha. And we actually say that when we go Rosh Hashanah, we go to Tashlich, we start in Micha, says, Mikel Kamoicha, who Hashem is like you. Noisei Avain, and we start mentioning some of the attributes. And the Zohar explains, and you actually see it in the Machzor, how which words are alluding to which one of Hashem's attributes. So the Nevi'im also mentions the 13 attributes of Hashem. And in Ksuvim, also in Tehillim. In Tehillim, David HaMelech says in Kapitel Kuf Yud Ches, the last kapitel from Hallel. So over there, the Hoidul Hashem Ki Tov, and we list off all the things that we thank Hashem for doing for us. So the Zohar says that hinted in this Hoidul Hashem Ki Tov is hinted Hashem's Midas HaRachamim. And in Igeres HaRamaz it says that this is actually even greater than the other places where it's more written, more clear, because the way it's said, it's not said as a way of request and Hashem please. This is more in a way of forgiveness. This is more in a way of thankfulness. We're thanking you, Hashem, for doing this and this and this. And that's the reason why for the other ones, when you're saying Hashem, you give Midas Harachmim, the way it's written in Chumash, you need a minyan to say it. You can't just say it but without a minyan. However, if you are reading the Hoidul Hashem Ki Tov, you don't need a minyan for that. Now, it's interesting to note that it's also hinted in many other ways, many other places also hinted that you give Midas Harachmim. For example, the pasuk V'hu Rachmim Yechaper Avim V'lo Yashchis. In other words, alluding to Hashem being the merciful one, and He forgives us, and He doesn't destroy Klal Yisrael Chas v'Shalom, has 13 words. And we actually start the tefillah of Ma'ariv with this tefillah, V'hu Rachum. And it's brought in the Reikeach that we actually try to say this pasuk 3 times a day. We start Ma'ariv with it, 13 words alluding to the 13 attributes of Rachmim. And we say it twice by Shachris, once in Pesukei de Zimra, and once in Uvolotzion. Why do we say 3 times the pasuk V'hu Rachum? Because 3 times 13 is 39. So if you say it, if you say these 39 words during the day, it will cover up, it will push away, God forbid, if anybody did a Avera that he deserved Malchus, which is 39 lashes, this is the forgiveness, this is a replacement for the 39 Malchus a person, Chas v'Shalom, would have gotten. So you see the significance of the Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim, even if it's just mentioned in the Psukim of V'hu Rachim Mechaper Oven. And before we start davening, we mentioned the Rabbi Shmuel Omer, the Yud Gimel Midas Shater in the Dreshes, the 13 ways how you could learn from a pasuk or halacha, etc. As we learn the Gzeira Shavar, as the Rabbi Shmuel mentions, lists off the 13 different ways to learn a pasuk, and it says in Mefarshim the 13 ways are corresponding to the 13 attributes of Hashem, and the Rekeach actually connects them. He says if somebody studies Torah and he studies Torah properly, he will be Zoicha to merit to have the 13 midas of Hashem. Rabbeinu Bechaya says that this week's parsha that if you study Torah properly, you're Zoicha to the Yud clear Toiv and Rachum V'chana from the Eibishter. The number 13 we also find is significant because of this Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim. We find it in some other things. I'm only just going to mention a few of them. Of course, the famous thing is the Rambam writes the Yud Gimel Ikrim, the 13 principles of faith. There are 13 times mentioned the word Baruch in Baruch Sha'amar. There are 13 letters. If you take the Avos, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, the 3 names of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov are 13. There are 13 materials that needed to build the Mishkan. And then there are 13 times mentioned in the famous Kapitel Kuf Yutes 119 in the Tilim. It's 13 times mentioned the word Avdecha, and 13 times the word Lev, heart. What's the significance to it? To show you that you have to completely devote your heart and pray properly as a servant, Ka'avda Kamamari, and with this you'll be Zoicha to the clear light of the Gimel Midas Harachim.